It's time for another Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25, where we talk St. Mary's University athletics. I'm Dean BECKMAN, along with Sports Information Director Donnie Netto. And today, Donnie, we've got track and field on the agenda.
Yeah, we always look forward to this segment. Get Coach Anderson on to talk some track and field. He's always been a great guest of ours, and I'm really excited to talk to Desmond Steward. He's had a phenomenal career here at St. Mary's, and now he's in his senior year, and going to kind of pick his brain a little bit about his career here at St. Mary's.
Yep, so Desmond, who's a senior, will be on the show in just a little bit, but Niels Anderson, our head coach for both women and men track and field. And you know, you're one of those head coaches that there's really no off season for you, is there? You kind of start right away in August as you get prepared for the indoor season, and then you transition immediately into the outdoor season. Is it a long year? What do you think?
It is. Well, and even this year is a little bit more unique because Ward Barrett moved on, and I took his position as head cross country as well. So literally, they came in at the end of August, and we've been going nonstop ever since. It's definitely busy, but I tell this to a lot of people. I get penalized for loving my job too much. I go home, and my wife doesn't think I worked because I just tell her all the fun things and all the great things that are happening. And she's like, well, that doesn't count. You can't be tired. You got to do work at home then. And so, of course, I'm kidding, but it's something that I love doing. I talk about having been a teacher, and I loved the active teaching. Some of the other pieces were a little bit tougher. I just love every day. I get to be with my athletes all year long. I think every other coach is very envious of how long our season is. To be honest, they kind of get done, and they have a 2 or 3 month window, and then it's 9 months really till they get to have their team back again. For me, I get to have them almost all year, and it's just that tiny 2 month window in June and July that I don't see them.
And I just want to say that Donnie has complained that because you're so busy, he never gets to see you. Yeah, well, I have never heard you complain about not seeing Donnie.
Well, it's actually more because he's now moved downstairs. His office used to be right across the hall from me. I saw him all the time, and we got to talk, and now, I mean,
you got to have him on the show to talk to him.
You know, I mean,
right, yeah, the glasses are new, so there you go.
Niels, what's been the biggest, you know, now it's you've had the program for several years now, coming from a high school program. Has it become easier to coach at the collegiate level? Because it's completely different than the high school, just in terms of recruiting and dealing with your athletes and really strength and conditioning.
Absolutely.
Has it become easier the more years now that you've been here?
I can easily say it's changed. You know, that first year was a ton of learning, just kind of going from that high school to the college, the length of the season, meshing personalities, all of that. We had a really small team that first year, and we've been able to chip away at getting the size to achieve critical mass. And so as the years have changed, the role has changed a little bit. From those first few years, I was just recruiting nonstop, and now I have a team with more girth, and with that comes all of these challenges of academic progress and making sure that everybody's that we're drama-free, I guess is what I would say. That alone is something that it takes a while to tackle, but this year has been awesome. I have 2 new coaches. Nick Larson works with all of our distance runners, and recent graduate, I think you might have even had him in class, Cody Michaels. He just graduated from last year, and he's been phenomenal. So with Ward leaving, we had 2 people kind of fill that role. I added some responsibilities, and that's been, you know, a good challenge. But those 2 guys are young, energetic, enthusiastic, both single. That helps too. You know, Cody's engaged, but you know, anyway. So that their youthful exuberance has definitely made a nice addition.
You know, when I look at the women's and men's rosters, you don't have a ton of seniors. There's about 5 seniors on each squad. So has that put maybe a little more pressure on the coaches to fill in some of that leadership void, or how have the seniors adjusted to that?
Well, our seniors are awesome. I mean, what was fun is you'll get to meet Des here, and you'll see the type of leader he is for us. He is going to go off and do something spectacular. You'll just see he's got a charisma to him. And honestly, Kinsey Smedsrud has got into med school. David Kemper is going off to, he got into 7 different programs. He's trying to decide. And I could literally list off all 10 and what they're going to go do. And they've been amazing. We're going to miss them terribly. And every coach ought to say that about their senior class. And then you hope that you can bring a new group in that says, here's the bar that they set. You better at least meet that. And hopefully maybe even attempt to exceed that. Though this group's going to be tough to do that with.
Now, you've got the luxury of being able to talk about your student athletes. Everything you just mentioned, a lot of it was academic related, right?
Oh,
but then you also have the luxury of having had a very successful indoor season as well.
Right.
So talk about the totality of the program that way and how you try to approach that with your student athletes.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, you kind of caught a couple of those names that I mentioned that they don't just excel in the classroom only, which is really nice. Of course, I want that. We want those all academic honors. But if that's all we're getting, then I gotta coach better. So they're very talented as well. You know, an indoor, it was fun. Rachel Odie is a name that you'll start hearing more and more often. She went from 12th last year to the runner-up. And of course, she's gonna kick me for saying this a little bit, but she missed the national championships by 1 centimeter. If you can imagine, they take the top 20 and she was 21st. Oh. So they, but that is just motivation for her. She's pretty ornery about it right now. Like, get me, I want to jump again. She's ready to go. And so we have great academics. We have, you know, some really spectacular people. Des, that you'll hear from. He won't tell you this. He had a great meet at the indoor conference championships. He'll probably tell you the opposite, like it wasn't, because he was first team all conference in 2 events. You know, our relay did really, really well, but he just fell shy of his own personal desires for those. And so, again, I think he did great. I was proud of him. He was upset. So it's one of those balances. He jumped out of the roof, but so did a couple other guys. Sure. So, yeah, it's fun because there's so many names. I know I feel bad when I start naming names because we got so many great kids. Kyle Lichtenegger is another one that just comes right up. He broke our school record in the 60-meter dash. He broke 7 seconds, which is this mythical barrier in the 60. Not that you need to know that, but he ran 6.99, and it sounds so much better than 7.00. So just the list kind of goes on and on.
Do you find in the years that you've been here now that the expectations are starting to grow? No longer is it just, hey, good job finishing 6th or you know, finishing 5th. I mean, there's this expectation to be all conference, top 3, or to be a conference champion, or to get to nationals. Do you see that continuing to really grow, that expectation of being among the best rather than just kind of getting by?
I've seen it within the conference. Their view of St. Mary's has really changed to, wow, you got some really good athletes. That's what I've probably noticed is coaches coming up to me going, I got to worry about this St. Mary's kid. I got to worry about this. And they're really starting to show up in lots of events. And so it's really fun. I've had some nice comments from coaches saying, wow, you're really doing a nice job. And I'm like, well, I mean, they're doing 99% of the work. And I'm maybe reaping a little bit of that. But it's definitely changed. We're making this steady progress. Again, it's not in any complaint of what I took over, but it's fun as a coach. You obviously want to just keep building a program, and you never, you know, I won't ever be satisfied as long as I'm here with where we get to whenever we get there, you know.
So we've got about 6 meets, outdoor meets, before we get to the conference championships, and that starts in about a week and a half here.
Right.
So kind of give us a preview of the outdoor season a little bit.
Yeah, you know, with track and field in the Midwest, weird things happen. We were supposed to host this weekend. I was out at the pits. The snow is actually probably going to be gone. But I was out at the long jump pits, and I was trying to rake them up just to get the, and it's a brick, you know. I'm like, you know, we're just not there yet to be able to host. So we'll have to wait an extra week. The weather this weekend doesn't look that great. So you're really weather contingent. All of a sudden you go from indoor to outdoor, and the biggest change is obviously the size of the track, but also the weather, and you really got to hit one. And if you know it's going to be a nice Saturday, you adapt your training because you don't know what the next Saturday is going to be like. So you have to have a lot of ebb and flow in your ability to train an athlete and kind of say, oh, you know what, this Saturday looks like it's going to be 65 and sunny. Let's tailor back this week. We didn't anticipate that this would be a week we really wanted to go after, but it looks like the 10-day forecast. No one lives on the 10-day forecast more than a track coach and a baseball and softball coach probably too. But we just live and breathe by that thing. What's it say now? What's it say now? So.
And do you see that now, again, going back to that expectation, if you're still just middle of the road, hey, you just compete, but you're always thinking, as you talk about, hey, well, let's hit one, you're not talking about just getting to conference, you're talking about getting that national qualifying
Absolutely.
mark. And that's kind of the difference in the track program, because now you see that, all of a sudden we're thinking, hey, this person can get to the nationals,
Absolutely.
not just get a conference qualifying mark.
100%. We had, so you got to be top 20 to make it to the national championships. We had 4 kids be in the top 30, and Rachel was the closest, being just that centimeter away. But we're talking about centimeters and inches and hundredths of seconds. Pretty exciting. We think we're going to have a bunch of people. I mean, we think we have on the guys' side a really great 4x1. David Kemper, obviously in pole vault, he's already qualified as a sophomore. Des, you'll see here soon, long in, triple jump. Kyle in long jump in the 100. You know, that's just on the guys' side. Again, Rachel is a real bona fide superstar in the weighting. One of the names that you know we haven't hit is Becca Dupe, and obviously she had a pretty catastrophic knee injury in soccer, and so you know this oftentimes is the Becca Dupe show.
Right,
but
it is,
you know, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But the surprise out of all of this for her is that she just, and I think I can announce this, just accepted being going to Mankato State next year, and we were able to save both of those seasons, and so she's actually going to get to go on and finish her career, just not here. It's just she just couldn't.
That's
rehab
a good and a bad.
It,
you know,
she didn't want that. I mean, neither of us wanted that, but because of that injury, you know, she gets to keep her career going. You know, we lose those 2 seasons, but and again, I'm sad about that. It's not anything I'm happy about. But I'm happy for her that it's not over.
Right, and you know, she was able to develop enough during her time here to make that happen.
Yeah.
So,
Niels, can you talk a little bit?
We got to run quick. We got to run. We got to get Desmond on here.
I was gonna just ask you about the 2-sport athletes, and I'm not talking about cross country and track,
right,
because I really do feel that they're pretty similar. It's but you've got a number of people who are 2-sport athletes that you mentioned. Kyle Lichtenegger, a soccer player, Becca Dupe, a soccer player. I mean, that's pretty impressive too, to be able to compete in 2 completely different avenues of sport.
Absolutely. We're, you know, and I think that's a testament to the coaching staffs that we're trying to recruit dual sport athletes too. So we're not holding on to our athletes saying we don't want them to be in something else. I think we're doing a really nice job collectively as a staff to say, you know, track is true sport. So anything you're doing in track is probably going to help you stay in shape at the worst, and at best get you more explosive, more athletic. So most people see track as a benefit to their program in general. So it's a really nice working relationship we have with the coaches.
All right, Niels Anderson, our head coach for track and field. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much.
And we're going to get one of his seniors, Desmond Steward, on next here on HBC.
Don't miss out on highlights and score updates from your favorite local college and high school athletics by following HBC TV 25 Sports. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get up-to-date information on all the games covered by the HBC sports team. Grab your smartphone and add us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at HBC TV 25 Sports.
What's a Southern girl? It's waking up before the sun rises. It's loving the simple things in life, like the dirt roads that lead you home. It's working hard to get what you want. It's hanging your own stands, breaking your own ground, and strategizing every little move for that one moment when everything you've worked for is standing right in front of you. Even if I fail a million times, I keep pushing myself till I'm exhausted, filthy, and about to give up. And that's when the adrenaline hits.
HBC Community Wi-Fi is a system of wireless access points installed in public and private locations. Delivering community Wi-Fi to a remote campground or marina is an engineering challenge that can involve a lot of different technologies and require some creative thinking. HBC leadership is committed to delivering cutting-edge services to our customers and in the communities we serve.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers. HBC is innovation and creativity.
And welcome back to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. I'm Dean Beckman along with my co-host Donnie Netto. Donnie is the Sports Information Director at St. Mary's, and Desmond Steward is our guest as we focus on track and field this week on the Cardinals Nest. And Desmond, you're a senior now at St. Mary's and from Bayside, Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, but I now live just in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us your background, if you will. Tell us, how you ended up coming to St. Mary's and really getting involved and so good at track and field.
Thank you. I'd say the reason I came to St. Mary's was they were the first piece of athletic recruiting mail I ever got. I remember that I was in advanced physics class, and I got a piece of mail. They're like, Desmond, you have this mail for you. And it was my first ever athletic recruiting letter. And it was from St. Mary's University. So no matter what other recruiting visits I did, any calls, any other contacts I had with any other coaches, I always had them in the back of my mind, knowing they were the first ones to reach out to me. And then Niels obviously came down and visited me. And then as far as their athletic program, I saw them as very similar to my high school, as far as not necessarily a top tier program, but I saw them as a program I knew I could contribute and try to change that view of them.
So did you hear that, coaches? Sometimes the early bird really does get the worm. And in this case, we got Desmond. And so what do you think of St. Mary's? Of course, you're a sports management major, so it had the academic program that you were looking for. What else appealed to you about the university itself?
Well, I'm from, like I said, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I'm from the big city environment. So coming here, I've never been in a town or a city that was surrounded by so much natural beauty, if you will. The bluffs, that's something I'd never seen. Like, I'd never seen bluffs like that. Like, being in St. Mary's, we're in the little bowl, things like that. Everyone's very nice. Everyone's, the Minnesota nice is definitely something I got used to. But, yeah, I just wanted to be kind of in a small-knit community that made me feel homely. And I guess I could say my mother also gave me the limit of I couldn't be more than 6 hours away driving.
So a little parental guidance, too. Yeah, good.
How about coming from high school? Obviously, you competed at track and field in high school. What was the biggest adjustment from coming as a high school competitor to the college level?
I'd say the biggest adjustment was having the multiple or the two-a-days, if you will. So in high school, we didn't necessarily lift mandatory. It was kind of like lift on your own, lift if you want to get better type thing. But now that we're here on the collegiate level, it's kind of mandatory that you lift. And those lifts obviously are going to make you better in the future. So I'd say that's the biggest thing as far as the transition from high school to college athletics is just the lifts and the dedication and the commitment you have to make if you want to be that top tier athlete.
So when you are practicing now, what kind of take us through, what does a season look like for you? How much of a commitment do you make from a practice standpoint, both during the season and off season?
Well, technically, our season starts the very first day of school. We have captain's practice. That very first day was usually the 27th to 28th of August, and then we go till 2 weeks after school's over with. So technically tracks all year. But I'd say as far as the commitment, we have to commit to practicing 4 to 5 days a week, lifts 3 to 4 days a week, and then weekends we have meets where we could be gone all weekend or at least 2 out of the 3 days. That could be Friday, Saturday. We could be gone Friday, Saturday, and part of Sunday. So it's just having that time commitment, knowing that you're not going to be able to just do whatever you want. If you want to be the best, you have to be able to come through, commit to practice, commit to lifts, commit to getting better overall. So.
Talk a little bit about practice. I know we were talking off camera. I always find it interesting that so many people think that while you go to track practice, you just run or you just jump. Talk a little bit about the different types of things that you guys do as athletes in terms of practice.
Yeah, and that is a big perception a lot of people do, which isn't completely wrong. Yeah, I mean, on warm-ups we're running most of the time to get our legs warm, but for me specifically, I'm a jumper/sprinter. So Tuesday, Thursdays we have technique days. So the jumpers, sprinters go earlier at 3:45 to kind of get more one-on-one time with coach, and then we have hurdlers and pole vaulters go later in the day. But as far as a typical practice, I mean, we work on things such as, for me, runway approaches, you know, box jumps, finishing. And then for sprints, you might just work on how to get out of the blocks faster, exchanges for relays, things like that. And then if you're like a long distance runner, a mid distance runner, you kind of want to run around that distance. So you might jog, go for a mile, or run a couple of 200s and things like that. So it is like what people say, mostly running, but there's different types of running, or like different techniques of running that you should do to make you better.
So take us back now to the indoor season, Desmond, because you were all conference in the long jump and the triple jump, and then all region as well. So take us back to kind of entering the fall season, or the winter season. What was your goal for indoor, and did you exceed your expectations with those all conference and all region honors?
I'd say I'm definitely very, very grateful to be able to earn those all conference and all region honors. But coming into the indoor season, my only goal was to make it to nationals and honestly try to be an All-American, because my coach, I feel he deserved the absolute best out of me. I knew that he knew that I was capable of going to nationals and being that All-American. So I'd say this indoor season, although it wasn't a complete bust, in my opinion, I did not nearly meet the expectations I wanted to do, but I still think I had pretty decent indoor season.
And talk about the importance of having those high expectations, right? Because most people looking in would say, gosh, all region honors, all conference honors, that's great, and it is. But I think the St. Mary's track program, thanks to you and others, have taken it up to another level where you're now looking to get even further than that, right?
Yes, I'd say it's just we're getting to the point where we don't want to be settled or known as that, you know, that kind of that bottom tier team. You know, we're a force to be reckoned with. So we don't want to settle with complacency. We don't want to be complacent. Oh, we made conference or made all conference. Which, like you said, they're great honors, and it's awesome that anyone ever gets those types of honors. But we know what we're all capable of, so we know that we can reach that maximum level of obviously being a national champion or a national qualifier. So.
Talk a little bit about the conference championships themselves. You're one of the best long and triple jumpers in the conference, which is absolutely a great honor. But talk a little bit about the meet itself, and maybe take us through the long and the triple jumps for you at the conference championships.
So at conference there are 3 days. The first day being for the heptathletes, but the next 2 days are kind of the rest of the events everyone else knows about, kind of, if you will. And so for me, it was long jump the first day, triple jump the second day. And so basically, both of those events are early in the afternoon. So I have 3 jumps to make it to finals, and then I have 3 more jumps in finals to get my best mark. So I'd say going into it, I just have the mentality of do my best, do what I know I can do. You know, don't try not to pay attention to what everyone else is doing, what other people's marks are, things like that. And so I just try to go into it knowing no matter what other people's marks are, their marks aren't going to affect how I do personally. I have to come in knowing practice everything we've practiced in practice from coach. Trust my technique, trust my training, things like that. So I kind of just go into the mentality knowing I control what I can control. So.
And is the mindset in the conference championships, like you said, you get 3 jumps to make it to finals. Is the mindset to make sure you get 1 qualifying mark and then try to maybe uncork that jump to get you to nationals? Or how do you approach the long jump? Okay, and you get 3 jumps. First jump, do you want to make sure just to make it? Second jump, do you want to get better? How do you do it?
So I'd say the mindset for me personally is I want to get 1 big jump as early as possible. So actually it's kind of sad to say, in the last 2 years for a triple jump, I've led the event all the way until the last person has gone. And then they come up and beat me. So, I mean, it's kind of tough to see, but like for me, every year it's just my mentality is I know my biggest jumps are going to come out in the very first or second jump, so I need to get those out of the way first. But for a triple jump, since it's more of a technical event, with each jump I kind of get better. So I know, okay, if I get 1 safe mark that's going to make me in the finals, I have the power. Like coach will give me like the cue to unleash it, uncork, go all out, because it's your last couple jumps. So why not? So we want to see how you're going to do so.
Do you have a favorite event?
Favorite event? I'd say outdoor 4x1. The relays, yes.
Yeah, why is that?
I'd say since track is, I like to call it an individualized team sport, because the team only does as good as the individual does, but the relay shows how much of a team sport it is. And I'd say I love that event because, we've had personal trials and tribulations with our 4x1 that's made it my favorite, just because it's kind of a small metaphor for life. So last year at conference, in the 4x1 outdoor, we were leading the event all the way until it got to our anchor leg. And, sadly, he got hurt, and so we ended up getting 6th or 7th. But we were leading the event all the way, and then just like that, it was all over with. So, I mean, it was probably still my favorite race, even though we didn't do as good as we wanted to, but it was just a great metaphor for life. Like, no matter how things are going, no matter how everything's going, you never know what can happen. Everything can change just like that.
Do you guys work a lot in the relays in practice? Do you, you know, it's not something necessarily that's thrown together for just one meet. Do you guys work at it all year as a team?
During the beginning of the season, we kind of have people do the open ones and open twos just to kind of see who we want on the relays, and then like more towards conference time, once that time, I'd say like 3 or 4 meets out, then we start to kind of like, all right, who's going to be on the team, handoffs, you know, on a regular basis, every Thursday, every Friday, things like that. So.
Okay, now don't answer it. One is indoor and one is outdoor.
Okay.
Okay. What is the biggest difference between the long and triple jump indoors compared to the long and triple jump outdoors?
The biggest difference is wind, I'd say, because the wind, you can have a legal mark of plus, I believe, 3.3 wind, and if it's anywhere past that, it's illegal, and if it's under that, it is legal. So I'd say that definitely helps as far as the biggest factor. And then another factor I'd say is surface. So indoor tracks, you know, that you're going to get a lot of different kind of surfaces, but outdoor track, it's all the same consistent surface. So, and it's a lot better as far for me personally on my knees, on my legs. So that's why I like outdoor.
Desmond, let's transition now into the outdoor season. In just a couple of minutes left here, but you know, you've got about 6 meets coming up before the conference championships. So what are your expectations for those 6 meets and then when you get to the conference championships?
My expectations are probably the same as they've been the last 2 years. If I don't come out winning every meet, I feel disappointed. And then if I do win and I feel like I don't PR it and go as long as I should have, I'm still disappointed. So my expectation is to win or nothing.
Donnie, one set of questions left.
I have a couple, but first off, has it set in yet that this is your senior year? You talk about those expectations. Now you've got one more season, that's the outdoor season coming up, to go. Has it set in yet that this is the last hurrah, so to speak, for you in track and field?
Yes, it's definitely set in. Obviously, it won't officially set in until the season's over, but it's set in, I'd say, once indoor conference was over, I realized I'll never have that chance again to go and be a MIAC champion indoor. So it's definitely set in. So that's why this outdoor season, I'm a lot more focused, you know, take care of my body a lot better, helping my teammates out too, just in case anything does happen to me, and like they are the future. So I want them to be able to do as well as I have or even better, you know. So it's definitely set in that this is my last season as far as my mentality, but I'm still gonna obviously always do as best as I can and, you know, give my all.
Well, we always have an end of the interview question, and I go through everybody's questionnaires. And I would like to know, one of the questions is, what TV character would you like to spend the day with? And I'd like to know what you and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would do for a day.
Me and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for the day, wow. Anything he wanted to do. I'd say we go to the mall, go to the beach, probably go play basketball, you know, in the typical Fresh Prince, you know, maybe try to find some girls to talk to, probably things like that. But, you know, just have a good time, spend time with them. It'd be nice to be in California, somewhere nice, somewhere hot, but yes.
Sure. And the other thing, your greatest personal sports moment. And you said you're the 2-time slam dunk champion. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. So in middle school, I went to the Marquette University, which is right by my house, the college, and they have these basketball camps. And so at the end of each camp, they kind of have these kind of like all-star weekends. So there was like a 3-point contest, free throw contest, and a slam dunk contest. Now, obviously, me being in middle school, the hoop wasn't at 10 feet. But yeah, so I made it back-to-back weeks. I was the slam dunk champion, and my crowning moment was dunking over Jimmy Butler's shoe from the free throw line. I had a big hype. I had a Superman shirt on. I had a cape, and I flew, dunked, and I won. And
he wasn't in the shoe at the time.
No. He was a judge. He was a judge. Yeah, you know, he came up, gave me a big hug, high five. You know, that was definitely my greatest sports moment I've had. But.
All right. Well, Desmond Steward, thanks for being on the show. Good luck here as we approach the outdoor season, your senior year.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's Cardinals Nest. Thanks for watching here on HBC.